You're listening to Agile Ideas, the podcast, hosted by Fatima Abuchi. For anyone listening out there not having a good day, please know there is help out there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Agile Ideas. I'm Fatima, CEO at Agile Management Office, mental health ambassador, and your host. This podcast is made possible thanks to Agile Management Office. We help businesses in three key ways: improving organizational culture and delivery, supporting transformation and change, and streamlining governance and process using over 20 years of proven practice and the AMO Way proprietary model. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about anxiety. For those of you who know or have followed me for a while, I've had anxiety for most of my adult life. The challenge has been not knowing enough about it when I was first diagnosed with generalized anxiety. And over the years, I've learned so much that I want to share some of those learnings with you today. We're going to talk about a particular thought pattern or thought process, and I want to deep dive into that to help you see what I've now been seeing after all these years working closely with specialists to help me realize that I'm not as afraid of as many things as I thought. Often we think that we are afraid of many things, but a lot of the time we actually don't realize we're not afraid of as many things as we think. And you personally need to realize that you're braver and more capable than you think. For example, over the weekend, I was talking to my mother, who, for her entire family of almost a dozen people, is the only one who cannot swim. And when asking her about why she cannot swim, she has always had that fear from when she was very little. And so one of the things that I have been trying to instill in her is that she believes that she's scared of the water and fearful, but she hasn't given swimming lessons a try. Now, despite myself nearly drowning in high school, I have decided in the last few years that I wanted to go and undertake swimming lessons. And the reason for that is because I wanted to be able to go on holidays and enjoy snorkeling and scuba diving and going to the beach without being afraid. And what that's helped me realize is that I'm not as afraid of the water as I thought. Now, will I be able to go out into the ocean and swim in the ocean with, no land in sight? Definitely not. Not at this stage. But what I can see is an ability to actually move past the initial fear of not being able to swim in order for me to move forward. I've realized that we are braver than we think, and anxiety has spent a long time holding people back because I believe that fear is fake events appearing real. A lot of the time with anxiety, there's no actual threat. We just believe there to be a threat. And so it's really important for you to remember that you might think you're really afraid, but often it's the anxiety trying to trick us. And we are actually not as afraid as we think. So I want people listening to realize that you're actually more capable than you probably believe you are. And that as soon as you're brave enough to start talking about what you're afraid of, and this is another reason why I highly recommend people seek professional help to help them objectively look at what those fears are and overcome them, you'll realize that there's a lot more behind those fears and anxieties than you realized. And there's probably a lot less to the problem itself than what you originally thought. Some of the times I have fears around anxiety that I often think that it is one thing, but it might actually be another. And having someone professionally help to dissect that challenge and go through that information with me has made an absolute world of difference. So if there's one thing I can implore you is to have a bit of confidence in yourself that you actually are capable and that you actually can overcome your fears, particularly if they are fears like mine, where they are very irrational and often just holding me back. So you are much more braver and you have a lot more courage than you realize. You just need to tease it out. And ultimately, to beat your anxiety, you just have to have that courage. It's not necessarily about focusing on the fears. It's more focusing on the being courageous enough to beat your anxiety by focusing on the having more courage part rather than just focusing on the negative part. And that is one of the common things to think about, is focusing on the positives in a situation, not just the negatives. So to beat your anxiety, have more courage, believe in yourself, and I'm evidence that you can overcome your challenges and your fears if you believe in yourself and you have the courage to do so. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Please share this with someone or rate it if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and to stay up to date with all things Agile ideas, go to our website www.agilemanagementoffice.com. I hope you've been able to learn, feel, or be inspired today. Until next time, what's your Agile idea?